Time check! It's English O'Clock! Ang pag-aaral ng English upang madaling matutunan, bakit hindi natin simplihan? Halika! Manood at makinig sa English Teacher ni Juan!
Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel na to, huwag kang matakot. I made learning English easy for you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. At pakishare mo na rin sa iba para marami pang mga Juan na gaya mo ang matuto. Hello everyone! Lipat na tayo sa another chapter ngayong school year. Start na ng second quarter kaya naman, simulan na rin natin ang bagong lesson na ituturo ko sa video na ito. Our lesson for this video is Explain Visual-Verbal Relationships. The target most essential learning competency for this video is explaining visual-verbal relationships illustrated in tables, charts, and illustration maps found in expository texts. Pamilyar ka ba sa ibig sabihin ng mga salitang visual at verbal? How about expository text? Alam mo ba kung ano ito? Let me start by defining these three terms. So, what does it mean by visual? Visual is an adjective relating to seeing or sight. As a noun, it means a picture, piece of film, or display used to illustrate or accompany something. So ito ay may kinalaman sa mga bagay na ating nababasa at nakikita o napapanood. What about verbal? As an adjective, verbal means relating to or in the form of words. And we use words to express and communicate our thoughts in two ways: oral and written communication. Oral or verbal communication describes any type of interaction between individuals which makes use of words and involves speaking and listening. Now, what do we mean by expository texts? Expository text or informational text are non-fiction texts that give facts and information about a topic. This type of text is not organized around a story-like structure, but is instead organized based on the purpose and goals of the author or by content. Examples include news articles, informational books, instruction manuals, or textbooks. Examples of expository text frames or structures include cause and effect, concept and definition, sequential, or proposition and support. So, ang expository text ay mga babasahin na ang pangunahing layunin ay makapagbigay impormasyon mula sa pinagkakatiwalaang mga sources. Hindi ito hinahaluan ng personal na pananaw o opinyon ng isang manunulat. Common expository text structures. Sequential. This could include the description of key events in chronological order as might be found in a history text, or it could involve a series of related steps in a process such as might be found in a recipe or instructional manual. Descriptive or concept or definition. This type of expository text involves the description and or categorization of something such as a concept like freedom or civil rights, a system such as the respiratory system, or an object such as an element or compound studied in a science class. Compare or contrast. Discusses the ways in which concepts, ideas, events, or objects are alike and different. Cause and effect. Discusses problems or events and their results or consequences, such as an article describing the process and consequences of deforestation. Proposition and support, persuasive. The author in this type of text is often trying to persuade readers that a problem exists or an issue exists and must be dealt with in a specific manner. The author will generally state a hypothesis and attempt to make a logical argument about what is to be done. Ngayon, ano naman ang koneksyon ng mga salitang verbal, visual at expository text sa isa't isa? Visual aids include graphics, tables, charts, maps, and graphs to help their readers understand complex data. Sa pamamagitan ng mga larawan o illustrations na ito, mas nagiging madali at mabilis para sa mga mambabasa ang maintindihan ang mga detalye na nakapresenta. Kaya ito tinawag na visual aids dahil ang mga ito ay totoong nakatutulong para sa mas mabilisang pag-unawa. Writers use visuals in their writing to grab the reader's attention, make the work more interesting to read, and help readers understand what they are reading. Now, there are what we call linear and non-linear texts. What is linear text? Linear text refers to traditional text that needs to be read from beginning to the end. Generally, text printed on paper are considered as linear texts. Novels, poems, short stories, letters, and educational texts. All those texts we read from the beginning to the end are linear texts. Linear text is the most common type of reading. It is the traditional method of reading we are taught as children. However, linear text or linear reading is not always advantageous. It may prove disadvantageous when you are in a hurry and need to find some information quickly. This is because reading a linear text involves reading the whole text from beginning to the end, and it may take a considerable amount of time to find the specific information you need. What is nonlinear text? Nonlinear text is the opposite of linear text. As its name suggests, it is nonlinear and non-sequential. This type of text has many reading paths, since it's the readers who decide the sequence of reading, not the author of the text, just like in this example. There are many definitions of the term nonlinear text. Most people consider text with visuals or graphs along with it as examples for nonlinear texts. Some examples include flowcharts, charts, and graphs. Example, pie chart or bar graphs. Graphical organizers such as knowledge maps and story maps. So, graphs, tables, information maps or charts, and other illustrations or visual aids are nonlinear texts. They contain data to explain certain topics quicker and more efficiently. That is why they are used together with the expository text. Because we live in a visual world, you must be able to read and interpret visuals. In this lesson, we are going to look at examples of tables, charts, maps, and graphs, and learn how to interpret their data. Interpreting graphics in expository texts. Most students assume that any graphics used in a text will be helpful and easy to understand. This is not always true, as many charts, graphs, and presentations of data confuse students or seem extremely difficult to interpret and understand. Conversely, some students skip over graphics because they think they are not important. It is essential to understand how graphics are presented in the text and to take steps to match them up with corresponding text. Authors include the graphics to broaden understanding, so readers must know how to read and interpret them as they are essential aspects of understanding the material. Let's look at the different types of graphics commonly used in expository text, along with some strategies for interpretation. Photographs and illustrations. Of the many types of graphics used in expository text, photographs and illustrations are usually the easiest to interpret. A photograph will provide a literal snapshot of the person, place, or thing being discussed. An illustration is a drawing or sketch. Both provide visual representations of concepts and facts to readers that serve to increase overall understanding of material. This photograph shows readers our first experiences on the moon. It is important for readers to use the photographs and illustrations in a text to deepen engagement with the material. Readers should pay special attention to any captions or titles added to the photographs, as this will help simplify interpretation. For example, if a photograph of a historical figure is displayed in an expository text, it will usually be captioned with important information such as the person's name, title, date and place where the photograph was taken. This information is important for interpretation. Charts and graphs. Charts and graphs may be a bit more challenging for readers in terms of interpretation. Charts and graphs are usually used to present data. They are useful because a lot of data can be presented in a small amount of space. Also, charts and graphs allow for unique organization of the data being presented. Bar graphs are useful for presenting a lot of data in a small amount of space. Let's assume we are reading a science textbook about plant growth. A chart could easily show us the rates of growth for many different types of plants in one neat box. If we were to write out the same information, it would take up much more space in the textbook and it would take us longer to read. When interpreting charts, it is important for readers to understand what data is included. For example, we mentioned a chart that could teach us about plant growth. That chart might include the type of plant and amount of growth per week. It could also include things like age of the plant, or amount of sunlight received by the plant, or even the amount of water the plant received. Knowing what is included in the chart helps readers understand the material more effectively. Diagrams and timelines. Diagrams are useful to demonstrate processes. For example, that science textbook we mentioned earlier might include a diagram of how a plant goes from a seed to a seedling to a full-grown plant. Timelines are important in the presentation of events throughout time because they can show the passage of many years on a continuum. This timeline shows how bicycles have changed over time. Both diagrams and timelines are useful graphics in expository text because they help to illustrate the facts and information for students. However, interpreting diagrams and timelines may take some practice. Again, it is important for readers to use captions and labels to decipher exactly what information is included in the graphic. This information helps students deepen understanding and overall learning. For instance, the diagram mentioned above might have a caption like "Growth Patterns of Daisies." This would tell readers that the diagram represents how daisies grow from seed to plant. A timeline might present the largest battles of the Civil War. Again, it is important for students to understand that this is not necessarily a representation of all battles, but just those that were large in terms of the number of soldiers involved. No matter what type of graphic is used, the purpose is to increase learning. Therefore, students should focus on graphics as essential elements for understanding expository texts. Read this expository text sample. COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, trends, reasons, and subgroups. Share of public willing to get vaccinated for COVID-19 has increased. The KFF COVID-19 vaccine monitor finds that the share of the public saying they would definitely or probably get a vaccine for COVID-19 if it was determined to be safe by scientists and available for free to everyone who wanted it has increased modestly since September. following the results of the presidential election and promising news about several COVID-19 vaccine candidates. In the new survey, 7 in 10 or 71% say they would definitely, 41% or probably 30% get such a vaccine, while about a quarter or 27% say they would probably, 12% or definitely 15% not get it. The share saying they would definitely or probably get vaccinated is up 8 percentage points from a KFF survey conducted in September in partnership with ESPN's The Undefeated from 63% to 71%, while the share saying they would definitely or probably not get vaccinated is down 7 percentage points from 34% to 27%. Now, here is a graph to help you visualize and better understand this given data in the expository text that we read. Take a look at this. In the given example, both linear and nonlinear text, which is easier to understand? Tandaan na ang mga impormasyon ay hindi lamang natin makukuha sa kung ano ang nakasulat na mga salita, pangungusap at talata. Maaari tayong gumamit ng iba pang bagay kagaya ng larawan at iba pa na mas makatutulong upang maintindihan ang higit na mahihirap at komplikadong detalye. Importante din na alam natin kung ano ang iba't ibang uri ng visual aids o illustrations na ito upang mas madali nating maunawaan ang mga impormasyon na nakalatag dito.
So did you learn something today? Sure ako na hindi ka na nosebleed. If you want more of this video tutorial and learn English in a light speed, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-turn on ang notification button para updated ka sa mga bagong lessons. Ako ang teacher mo, ang English teacher ni Juan. Class dismissed! See ya!